Welcome to the Coder Kids podcast. This is James Thornock, your host as always. Today on the program, we have a special guest, Leonard Onyango. He is from the country of Kenya in the city of Nairobi, and he does some work in the slums of Kibera. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. So welcome to the program, Leonard.
Yeah, thanks you, John, for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, I think we should go back in time to what got you interested in technology in the first place. Can you describe some of that for me?
Yeah, okay. I grew up in the Kibera slums. I was born in Kibera slums. I went to school in Kibera slums. Uh, my parent used to be a carpenter. He passed on many years ago, both of my parents, my mom and dad. So up in the slums, we didn't have electricity. We didn't have a phone. My dad never owned a phone. So my brother finished school and he got a job as an intern in a technology company. So he came home with a laptop computer. So
Oh,
I
okay.
was very interested in technology. So I was like, okay, how does this thing work? So that was that is what ignited my passion into technology, just to know, okay, people are owning these things, how much does it cost, and stuff like that. And my brother bought a phone, and that is how, from the slum where there were no such things, I became interested in technology, and that is how I decided after high school I'll just go to college and do something to do with computer. I just want to learn how to operate a computer,
Mm-hmm.
and that what brought me uh, to do the computer science in college.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, I mean, it was really just a brother's laptop then.
Yeah, he was an intern in a company, and he would carry the laptop home.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
Yeah, so we would listen to music, we would play games and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow,
Yeah,
that is incredible. Like that the only piece of
yeah,
technology that would be the laptop. Wow. I
yeah.
bet you have
People
some
would come from far.
yeah.
Yeah, people would come from far just to see a laptop.
No kidding.
My brother was like a hero. Yeah, my brother has a laptop, and yeah, so yeah,
Was it
it
like
looks
big?
like a
Was
dream.
it like big and heavy compared to the ones that come out these days, or like what?
Yeah, it was one of those biggest gray, the gray Dell laptops.
Oh
I
yeah.
think those
Okay.
were, yeah, the gray big laptop. It wasn't that. Yeah, it had a Windows XP. Yeah, it was past those. It was just a Windows XP.
Wow. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
what year was this? Do you remember? I'm just trying to get a bearing for
This
the
was
time.
yeah, that was in 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, that was in 2006. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So for
Yeah.
those of you who don't know, right? You said Kibera is the slum, region of
Yeah. Yeah.
Nairobi, Kenya.
Yeah.
And you discussed with me,
Kibera,
yeah, you discussed
just
with me
just just to
earlier
just to be clear.
that it's basically an unincorporated area, is what you described it to me as. Basically, it's unrecognized by the government. So there's no official
Exactly.
utilities or police presence or anything like that. Is that accurate?
Exactly. Yeah, just to clarify, Kibera is the biggest slum in the sub-Saharan Africa. Currently in the world since Soweto and the slum in Brazil were planned. So Kibera remains the informal settlement and the
Mm-hmm.
biggest slum in the sub-Saharan Africa, with like almost 4 million people based on the previous census.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's the size of
and
Houston, Texas, basically. Like the Houston metropolitan area
Exactly.
is 4 million people. And so there are about 4 million people, though possibly more now, maybe. Right?
Yeah, that's according to the 4 million currently, according to the data in 2015-16,
Okay.
which
Okay.
now 4 years later we have like 1,000 more people. Yeah,
Okay.
due to migration and stuff. So
Yeah.
Kibera, how Kibera started, Kibera was a forest, so there was a lot of rural-urban migration. So due to lack of employment, many people decided to build some informal structures
Yeah.
in the forest. Yeah. So Kibra is an African word for forest.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So so then before it was well planned, it was like an insult. You are living in the forest. And then it grew, and many organizations came and like, okay, now these people are living, they don't have toilet, they don't have one, two, three. So the churches came in, build schools, build toilets, they supplied water in water tanks and stuff. So that's how Kibera grew to what it is today. So with time,
Interesting.
before the government realized it, yes,
Yeah, so you're saying
before
the
the
churches
government
actually came in and built schools.
the when it started growing, the government didn't know, and people were really suffering, and it had like a large majority. So the churches saw like, okay, here we have people who go to church. So they're like, okay, you don't need to come far, like you are paying some bus fare to come. Let us come and rent a house or build a house or a tent so that you can go to church. You
Okay.
know the plan where a church can decide to build you a church where you don't have to pay transport, and
Okay.
that is
Yeah.
the church. The churches became nursery schools. The churches became from nursery school they became class one, grade one,
Wow.
grade
Okay.
two, and then the same churches decided now we have these kids. They have done class 8. The parent doesn't have money for high school. Let's
Right.
start from grade one. So they started. That is how the schools came up. That's how the churches came up. The churches built the toilets, community toilets. In every
Interesting.
village, they decided, let's do a toilet. And that is how Kibera grew up. That is how Kibera came to be. And before the government realizes there were like a million people residing in Kibera.
Wow.
So when the government now said we just want to demolish these informal settlements because they are illegal settlements,
Mm-hmm.
since there are a million people, the politicians became interested in votes. So they
Mm.
came to campaign using the word, they are not going to destroy Kibera if you give me votes. You see, now Kibera has 4 million people. It's like maybe
It's like a voting district.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, thousands of kilometers square. That is the size of Kibera. Thousands of kilometers square. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is
So
really huge. So
now
it's not so much a forest anymore as a forest of buildings
it's
and
not
temporary
it's not a
structures and
forest anymore.
a
It's
forest
not
of
a forest
people.
anymore. It's a forest of people. It's a forest. It's a source of livelihoods for people.
Yeah.
There are people. I hope you've gone to YouTube and Googled Kibera. The houses that you see there, they have landlords and landladies which earn a living from the houses.
Okay.
A house, yeah, a house in Kibera, a house goes for that is 1,000 shillings. That is $10 per month.
Okay,
The mad
$10 a
houses,
month. Okay.
they go for $10 per month.
And
And then the same
you
Kibera, we
can
have
just
shops.
live
Yeah,
there for $10 a month in a mud house.
$15 a month. Yeah,
Okay.
$15, $10 in a month in a mad house. You can pay for electricity, which is illegal. Yeah, which you just pay somebody just next door. But it's on government. Even the police can't even go into the slum to arrest people. Yeah,
Interesting.
the slum people will arrest you instead of.
Okay. I'm laughing because this is so new and this is like and it's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's
I'm not
true.
laughing because it's like good. I'm not making
No, I
fun. But
know.
this
I
is such an
I
interesting
always want to
concept.
tell.
So you
I've
pay your
always
neighbor for
wanted.
electricity. I think this is applicable
Yeah,
because this certainly you can't code without
exactly,
electricity, right? So how does
exactly.
how
Yeah.
does that work? Does your neighbor have like a gas generator that's running,
So,
producing
so,
electricity, or
so,
where does the electricity come from? Like originally, where is it being generated?
uh, yeah, this is a great opportunity because I've always wanted to tell the Kibera story, and that is
Okay.
what I've always said. I want to tell Kibera story through coding,
Okay.
where we can build, where we can build games that resonate with the society that we lived in,
Yeah.
where we can do storyboards resonating to the story, the backgrounds that we lived in.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity to tell the Kibera story, which I think whoever who will listen to this, I wish one day they could just plan a visit after all this COVID drama
Right.
and come. We do the Kibera tour. It's not that harsh as I'm talking. They are so friendly. People just want to survive.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So we are not like robbing the government, but okay, we are living in a $10 house.
Right.
We are living on a $1, less than $1 a day.
Right.
Mm. This is a family. You have like 3 kids. You are living in this $10 house. You're just a casual laborer. You work in the construction sites,
Mm-hmm.
where after a week you earn like $15.
Okay.
After a month you earn like that is 6,000. And then you pay the house. You have to pay the school fees. People have to survive in this house. You pay the electricity guy like $3. Yeah, you
Yeah.
see, there's also an illegal water. There's
Okay.
a Kenya water company, but the slum people have tapped into those pipes,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
which it's not that clean water. But
Yeah.
what do we do? You just put some chlorine and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that it's all about survival. So what you're asking about the electricity in the slum, a place where I've been thinking of setting up the coding center.
Mm-hmm.
It's close to like it's close to a road where the cars pass. So there are electricity poles which we can talk with the Kenya Power,
Yeah.
which they can drop us a cable to the building
Okay.
where we can have electricity, and at the same time we can also have a backup generator
Mm-hmm.
because in the slum the electricity is not that stable due to
Not. Yeah.
the illegal connections. So every now and then there are fire breakouts. You can imagine the congestion in the slum. There's a lot
Yeah.
of fire breakouts due to
Mm.
the loose connections. There's a lot of fire breakups due to the congestion and the gas explosions. There's a lot
Okay.
of that.
There is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which in future I've been thinking of maybe creating an emergency. The coding center can be an emergency place where you have like hotline numbers, fire
Okay.
breakouts. We can have hotline numbers for emergencies and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that
so that
that
is
those are
that is
some
one of the
big.
solutions.
Yeah, those are some big
Yes.
plans, and that's a great
Yeah.
vision.
Right.
We've posted a GoFundMe for
Yeah.
Leonard, and the reason we're doing this interview in a lot of ways is to generate donations to be able to make this happen. So, I'm a little bit interrupting the interview just to say, if you're a parent, if you're anybody listening to this, episode, definitely think about donating to that and to make this happen. And I'll ask you a little bit about what you've already been doing, but really, you know, the GoFundMe is to really purchase devices and a container that can be locked, obviously, and so that these kids can actually experience learning technology and can learn the logic of coding, and produce something of value in the market. And so anyway, so that's part of the reason that is the reason we're doing this interview. And that's why, Leonard, you're talking about this eventually is coding school, like this technology center that you're talking about, which is incredible. Can we take a detour just a little bit? And I want to talk about what you've already done at these like church school hybrid places, Yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I started doing this after the first phase of COVID. That was in March, where I lost my job. I used to work as a computer technician for a computer support for an organization, which the donor funding deteriorated, and then we had to be laid off. Like, okay, now we can't pay your salaries, so most of us went home. So that is when I realized I had my laptop, and I'm like, okay, now what do I do? So some of the schools that I would like move around just to help out, to volunteer, to do support, maybe help teachers do the mark list, help teachers know the basic knowledge of the computer, the Excel worksheet, the Word document and stuff.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I went there and I'm like, what do I do what do I do now that I'm home? So I decided to move around the informal schools in the slums, which are less privileged, because the government schools have a computer program which the government gives equipment to the government schools. So I'm like, okay, I don't need to go to the government school. Let me just go to the informal schools where they don't have these kind of opportunities.
Right.
So I just go with my laptop, and the kids, when they see the laptops, they are so excited. And always, the normal teachers are harsh, and then as the IT teachers, instructors, we are always the friendly one. We are always the easygoing ones. So they would run to me, and I'm like, okay, now let me just show them something. And they were like, okay, now I just showed them the Scratch Junior.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I showed them just a few moves and a few coding moves and stuff. And they were like, okay, can you teach us? So I just gave them like 2 days per week. For like I worked with 5 schools during the first lockdown. From May, they were doing tuitions, the private tuitions with a number of kids, with the COVID-19 restrictions. So I could work with 6 kids per session, and then I moved to another school. Then I moved to another school. That is what I've been doing. So I thought, how about having like a coding center in the heart of Kibera? We don't have such privileges in the slum, and people don't even believe it can happen. So I felt like, okay, now I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'll do it, but it's a dream. Yeah.
Right.
So that's why I just went to the internet and decided to just search for any coding institution or any coding website. I just do the info at so and so and so, and then I send.
Right.
You are the only person who replied, and I'm like, okay, maybe you are God sent, and maybe it's not a walk in the park, but we can plan together. Yeah,
Right.
we can hold hands together and strategize and see how can it be done. Yeah. So
right.
that is what I've been doing. Yeah.
Well, that is interesting to really hear the story behind what initially led you to send me that email. And I read this email, and I get a lot of emails from a lot of different places. Most of them want something, or they're selling something to me, or whatever, to Coder Kids. And I read this email, and it just didn't read like it didn't read like a sales pitch. So I was like really curious, who is this person?
Yeah,
And
exactly. I sent
and
a
you
lot of
just
them
laid it
out.
out. You laid it out in a couple of like short sentences, and I was just really
Yeah,
curious. Something just hit me, and so I said, "Well, I gotta get in contact with this guy to see if he's legit, right?" And
yeah, I know, I know.
and no offense, like there are people sending emails from all over, and they can scam people. So I was like, "Well, I gotta make sure this Leonard guy, or
It's
Leonard
really,
guy is legit, right?" And so I
yeah,
said,
exactly.
I need you to send me photos. Like I need to see like the kids that you're teaching. Like
I, I,
I was kind of
I had
mean.
I had all that in mind. I'm like, okay, no, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of spamming, and there are a
Right.
lot of people sending you mails. I know you are too busy, and most of these info at they never work.
Yeah.
They're just there. I've seen a lot of them. I've worked with these institutions where
Yeah.
their info at it's not even there's nobody who even checks it. There's nobody even logs into it. So I'm like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
let me just send this. I don't know if he'll get it. I
Hmm.
know he might not reply because there's a lot of scammers online.
Right.
Yeah. So when he replied, I was like, okay, I know he doesn't even trust me, but let me just prove myself.
Yeah.
So I had to send you
So
the photos. I
right.
had to like try to sound real and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, he is the real deal. He is there. And whenever I ask him for new pictures, he'll give me new pictures, which means he's still there and he's still with the kids. And we've had a
Yeah.
couple of conversations, and we've known each other now. Let me like scroll back in here. Um,
Yeah.
for a couple of months now, actually, I'm looking at it.
Yeah. It's a
Um,
couple of months. It's been
yeah, so
off kidogo back. So.
yeah, and whenever I'm asking what's going on, he's telling me the latest stuff that's going on in the classroom. And before you mentioned
Yeah.
Scratch Junior. Now, Scratch Junior, we've
Yeah.
talked about on the program before. Obviously, it's one of the main tools that we use for teaching, people who are 5 years old to 7 years old, roughly speaking. And it's a really great tool developed by MIT. It's really fantastic. So I'm glad that you're
Yeah.
able to get the version on your laptop. I think that one's on GitHub. You can download it. I'll put the link in the show notes so that if you're interested in that program, you can download it too. It's really good. But
Yeah. Yeah.
what we're
I have
trying
a
to
trial
do,
version.
go ahead.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is get actual tablets in the hands of kids so that they can actually use this app for themselves. It's one thing
Yeah.
for a teacher to get up in front of a classroom and to teach step by step, but it's another to let the students experiment and to let
Yeah.
them
Experiment.
have a little bit more free time and work with each other, because you said you're going to what, 5 different schools,
Yeah. So
2 days a week?
uh, uh, 2 days a week for 5 different schools. It was tiring because the schools are some a distance away. Each
Yeah,
school is
okay.
like like a kilometer or half a kilometer away. So that's
Okay.
why I thought maybe what if I just do like in the center of the slum, I
Yeah.
just do a coding center where these kids can
Can
come,
come to you. Okay.
where there are enough teaching aids,
Right.
what the tablet, a laptop, a desktop computer, a projector. Those are the most important teaching aids in an
Yeah.
ICT class. Yeah,
Right.
it makes the works of the teacher at least you can plan ahead.
Right. Absolutely. And do you
Yeah,
do you walk to these schools? Do you ride a bike? Do you like
no, I just walk. Yeah, I
just
just
walk?
walk. I just walk. Yeah, across the schools, and it's passion. That is the passion and the love of the kids is what pushed me because they're always waiting for me. The teachers calling me, "Hi, teacher, where are you today?" The kids won't go home without seeing you and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, so I just
Wow.
go there, do what we do, and then we escort all of them to their places. I would even just visit the parents, see where they live. This is your place. My mom is selling some 1, 2, 3 things by the roadside and stuff. So it's quite a connection. It's quite a calling. It's not for any faint-hearted person. So that's why I'm like, okay, this kid, the mom is selling 1, 2, 3 things by the roadside. They don't have electricity in their house. The only light that they use is what the mother is using to sell the sukuma wiki, the vegetables by the roadside. So after selling, they go back home with the light. Yeah.
Okay.
The light is rechargeable, or there are a lot of these rechargeable lights they use in their houses. So you find these kids, he doesn't have time for the homework because they have to sell by the roadside so that they can get something to eat.
Right.
And there's only one light. So I'm like, okay, now I think the only thing I can do is to ignite passion in this child. Maybe in future it could be the light, okay, that just came.
Right.
Yeah, it could be another light in this house.
Yeah.
So that's exactly, we can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. Yeah, that's something I use every now and then. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't help
and that's
everyone, but everyone can help someone.
That's so true. What strikes me as strange is something I think it's interesting. You know, there are a lot in the United States. We have a lot of teachers who have a lot of students who don't want to be there, and it's so interesting that you have a class of students who are just like they can't wait for you to get there, and in some ways, that's just an incredible blessing, right? And so you're right. I mean that must feel really good. Everything else is tough though. I mean, you've got to walk long distances. You got to figure out how to charge your laptop, and not let it get stolen. And you have to, make sure that you eat enough food. And I don't know how you're eating. So there's just there's a lot of different challenges, but I think this is a really good goal. And I think if people even donated a few dollars, it would really contribute in just more students really learning to code. And these are people who are pretty motivated, right? I mean, when the kids code, they're paying attention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is incredible.
So it's quite interesting with the IT in the IT field. As an IT instructor, the kids don't even get asleep. They might be asleep during the last lesson, but when I come, even the teachers are like, "What do you give to these kids?" I mean, no, I'm just friendly. I just care about why are you not why are you not playful today? You might tell me, okay, yesterday we didn't eat. Maybe I didn't have money for lunch. So I would move with them to their place, and maybe if I have 100 shillings, maybe that is a dollar. I would give to the parent, or I'd buy something.
Yeah.
Just take home. That is why the kids are so attached to me. Yeah. I really care. Besides finishing the syllabus, besides the learning, I also care about the welfare. This kid is always playful. You're always disturbing everyone in the class. Why are you not today disturbing us? So that is, I feel like that is part of learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, why are you not disturbing us today? So that's how I get them interested into my sessions. Yeah. So these I see these. This project will be a ripple effect. Yeah, it will be a coding center. I think with purpose. Yeah, it will be a ripple effect to the community, which the kids are learning, and at the same time, it's going to give back a lot of things. And whoever is listening to this, I'll repeat, maybe one day, if you find time, you're in Africa, just find your way to Kibera slums and just call me. I'll take you to a Kibera tour. I'll make sure you have a meal in one of the mud houses.
Right.
Just what they eat, not a special meal. We call it sukuma wiki. It's a vegetable which is sukuma wiki means push the weak. Sukuma wiki, push the weak. Yeah, so
Wait,
it's
the
one of the
squash of the
meals.
week?
Skuma week, it's push the week. It's just a food to push the week. When you're broke, you just do your 5 shillings.
Oh, okay. So it's like to
When
okay
you're broke, that's why I told you
push
you
the
can
week. You said push the week.
pu- push the week. It's when you're broke, there's that
Mm-hmm.
food that you eat just to use to just so that your few shillings can take you to the end of the month.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that is Skuma week. It's one of the cheapest meals back there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that is yeah. So you find like you have your little shillings, you eat your skuma wiki, and you
Yeah.
push the week. So that is anybody who visits, I take them in a tour. And then maybe we go to one of the maybe the parents of one of my pupils. They just cook you the normal meal, the skuma wiki
Yeah.
and ugali. Ugali is flour mixed with water and stuff.
Mm.
And you eat with your skuma wiki,
Hmm.
and that's all. So that's my call. One day you can come and see by yourself. Just walk
Right.
around the slum. People are jovial. They are happy in their struggles,
Yeah.
and that's the spirit in the slum. Yeah, they're not like miserable, but they would need maybe a breakthrough.
Uh-huh.
It's not one of the best places to raise a child. It's not that harsh, but there's a lot of loopholes. Yeah.
Hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I want to do. But the coding is just for the kids to tell their story through
Right.
coding, the story for their struggle. We can tell the Kibera story, what I'm talking about. We can
Yeah.
do a storyboard and maybe have episodes of stuff like that. Yeah. Maybe with the help of maybe a little professionals just to push the art and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see why not. I mean, Scratch Junior and Scratch, when they get a little bit older, and Python after that are great creative tools where they can really, like you're saying, tell the story of their
Yeah.
struggle and, show off like, hey, like this is what I've learned and this is what I can do. Man,
Yeah.
that is really, really incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Link to the GoFundMe is obviously going to be in the show notes. So definitely go ahead and click on that, donate, make this happen. We plan on making this, hopefully, if this is successful, an ongoing thing. And we'll post all kinds of, like I said, Leonard's really good at photos, and so we'll be posting updates, right, of stuff as this happens. It's really the items that we're trying to get, like you said, a projector, and we're talking like a pretty inexpensive projector, just something that's there, not like a
Yeah.
not like
Exactly. Yeah.
a
Just something
three to
that.
five thousand dollar projector, just like a small $60, $70 one, that works, right? And that's low
Yeah.
power, and then um, some kind of tablets that kids can do Scratch Junior on, and code carts and some of these other apps, and then eventually, right, laptops and bigger items. But these tablets are really good introduction, and they only cost about $35 each, which is really not that expensive. I mean, like, the cost of a couple of lattes, and then these devices can be used for, possibly even a couple of years, and by a lot of different kids. So, so they can all come to the center, and make it happen. Otherwise, we're gonna have to get you like a little wagon to carry this stuff around in. That might work in the meantime, but I think the idea and the dream of a center, I think, would be pretty incredible. And by donating, I think you're showing that you really have faith that people anywhere can learn coding, and that certainly is my belief. So sorry to get preachy, but I mean, this is one of those rare opportunities where something comes up and it's authentic, and you can actually make a difference. And I know that there
Yeah.
are a lot of causes out there that you wonder, well, how effective is this? Well, this guy, Leonard, he's already doing it, right? He's already doing the good that he can do at this point with these church schools and with these kids who, who literally can't afford to pay for these classes. But we really don't want those kids to be disadvantaged either. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the program today. I really, really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you'd like people to know, or?
Yeah. There's something that I'm right. I grew up in the slum. I schooled in the slum. My parents lived in the slum,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't my parents' choice for us to live in the slum. My
Mm-hmm.
dad told me we are living in this slum because I want to save the little money that I would pay in those expensive rents so that you can go to school. And
Mm.
that's why I'm talking to you guys right now. And all I want to do is just to be a blessing in someone's life. And all of us can be. Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
lot of creativity in the slum that hasn't been tapped because there's
Mm.
that stereotype that the only thing that can come out of the slum is crime, and that is a stereotype. Yeah.
Right.
I've lived there, I've gone to the university, I graduated, I came back. I've worked in many institutions just working as an ICT support. But would have been, the pandemic opened my eyes in a way. I just came back to the slum and I'm like, okay, what have I given back?
Yeah.
The slum made me, yeah. So let me try and explore what could be tapped from the slum. And I'm like, okay, now what do I have? I have my laptop, I have a few skills in ICT. Yeah, let me just go around in the informal schools, just ignite passion. That is all I've been doing. And then I thought of, okay, now walking from school to school is a little tiresome. Times are tough, finances and stuff. So that is what brought me to let me do a center in the heart of the slum, which is
Mm-hmm.
unique. The informal settlements have almost enough privileges for the kids.
Mm.
And when you're living in the slum, you are young, you don't have like nice clothes. There's that self-esteem issue. So you won't mix with those guys because you are from the slum. Maybe you are a thief and stuff like that. And that's not the case. We have a lot of good people in the slum. We have a lot of good kids, creative kids in the slum. And that's why I've chose the slum. And I'm not discriminating people who are living the formal settlements.
Mm.
We can tap into some of those. We welcome everyone,
Yeah.
but we just want to do this for the slum. The churches have done the schools for the slum. We have organizations that have done toilets, clean water supply for the slum.
Mm-hmm.
And now maybe we can have like a hub, a
Yeah.
coding hub. We can call it Kibera coding, or
Yeah.
we can call it Kibera, telling Kibera stories through coding, or we can just Kibera coding. Then we have a tagline, telling
Yeah.
stories through coding. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's all I can say as a parting shot.
yeah. Well,
Yes.
I definitely agree. Kibera coding, definitely has a ring to it.
Yeah, Kibera
Anyway,
coding,
thank you so much.
forest coding.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
well,
we're coding in the
yeah,
forest. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. And I hope we can get this off the ground. I donated $50. You can see that on the
Yeah.
page. I believe in
Yeah.
this
Yeah. I
myself,
can see. Thank you for that,
and
man. Thank you.
and I hope that we can get a few more and start sending the funds or tablets, physical tablets, and the other supplies that you need soon. And like I said, we will be updating this story throughout. So thanks so much again. All right,
Thanks
bye
for the
bye.
positive energy, bro. Thanks for the
Sure thing.
positive energy, positive vibe. Let's believe.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you later.
Okay. See you later.